So we've been showing you what's happening at the Emil Short Commission sitting. They've gone on a break for an hour and they'll be returning shortly. Let's cross over and get Joseph Akable online and find out how it all went down today. Hello, Joseph. Joseph, if you do hear me, tell us how. Give us a wrap, basically, of what happened today.
So far, you've had 3 individuals who have come before the commission to testify today. First, you had Superintendent Kisley Abwaji from the Airport Divisional. He's a crime officer. He came over, but there were some concerns about the documents that he was required to submit to the commission before he testifies. And these are documents that have to do with witness statements taken of the individuals that they arrested during the violence, and also medical forms, because once they were arrested by the police officers, they were asked to take the medical forms and go over for treatment, but he didn't have those documents immediately available. He was of the opinion that he could leave and ensure that the commission obtains it before the end of the day. But the commission felt that it was important that because the documents were vital to their work, he rather ensures that he gets it, and instead of just depositing the documents at the secretariat, he rather brings the document over and testifies to those documents. So eventually he was able to return with that document. But what happened was that he first appeared, he had to be discharged, and other witnesses were taken. Then he returned with the documents, made the documents available before he testified. In terms of the other individuals who have come, there are 2 other persons. One, Seidu Hudu, who was the last to testify just before the commission took a break. He introduced himself as a farmer, and he also says he's a member of the NDC. He was over at the constituency during the election on the mission of assisting in terms of distribution of some drinks to various members of the party as a contribution to the party's organization of the election within that period in terms of their participation in the election. So that was the role he went over to play. Here he was introduced as a victim of the violence, and he says that when they arrived at the place, they met the officers, and it was at that moment that the violence had erupted, just when they were moving the vehicles from the drinks from the vehicle into the building, the residence where they were supposed to start the distribution from. And he says that he was hit many times by the masked men, suffered various degrees of injuries on his head, amongst others. If you recall, he's that individual that during the testimony of the Director of Operations for the National Security, a video was played of an individual who spoke about the fact that he was a national security operative for the NDC. So he was asked a direct question by the council to the commission. Even before that video was replayed, he was asked whether indeed he was a national security member or he had served in national security before. But he said that wasn't the case, and he makes the point that in fact he was very confused as a result of the beating that was meted out to him by the marksmen. So he was not in the right frame of mind to recall accurately all the issues that had happened on the said day. During engagement with the commission members, the former IGP, who's also a member of the commission, had raised issues about the extent to which the commission should put much premium on the testimony coming from him, because he had admitted during the testimony that he was not in the right frame of mind and that he was confused. But he insisted that the facts he had supplied to the commission in terms of his testimony were his recollection of the events of the day, and he expects it to be taken in that regard.
So just 3 people, like you say, have been...
Amadu also testified before the commission. He is also...
Yeah, go ahead, Joseph. Go ahead.
You can go ahead, give him.
Right, you were talking about Amadu.
Okay, so Amadu also testified. He introduced himself as... Yes, he says he is the Ayawaso Central Constituency Chairman of the Opposition NDC, and that he had also gone over to assist the party in terms of distribution of food for the various polling agents that the party had in various constituencies, polling stations within the constituency. So they arrived also with a vehicle, the Mahindra vehicle. This is a vehicle that has been mentioned a number of times, first by the National Security Operative A.W.W, who also testified before the commission. And again, if you recall, when the Ningo Prampram MP Sam George testified, he spoke about a certain key that he identified as being a source of the disagreement between the agitating crowd and the National Security SWAT team, as we have come to know them to be. And you recall that he said that he was trying to retrieve the key and make it available. Now, we have been told that this is a key to the Mahindra vehicle that was supposed to have the food that was to be distributed to the NDC polling agents placed in. Now, Amadu tells the commission that just when they were about moving the food into the vehicles, the National Security SWAT team arrived and they told them that they should alight from the vehicle and lie on the floor and that they wanted to search the vehicle. He says he had got some education through watching various media programs and knows that they were required to provide a warrant before they can conduct that search. So he requested for the warrant, and once that was not provided, he felt that these individuals were not national security operatives like they were claiming. So because of that, he urged the crowd to come over and assist him to get the key from that individual. And at that moment, that led to the violence that we saw in the videos that went viral. The concern from the commissioners again was to the effect that it appears that it was as a result of he asking the people to assist him obtain the key that was what caused the violence of the day. But he said that he didn't intend to cause any such incident and that he was simply trying to get back his car key because it was important to them to undertake the operation that was undertaken. If you recall, when Double testified, Double had made a point that the crowd did fire some shots. Amidu was asked directly, since he was within the crowd, he was part of them, whether he saw any shots fired. He said that he didn't notice any such thing. He didn't think any such thing happened. So in terms of the major issues that came up in the course of the 3 testimonies, those are the main issues. The superintendent, Kingsley Abuaji, did return. He made the documents available to the commission, the medical forms, as well as the witness statements that were taken, and they were handed to the commission, after which he was discharged.
Joseph, that you mentioned this, and I'd like for us to have a conversation on how different it is, the information that has come to the commission now from what it has had in the previous sittings, if you'll be able to point us in that direction.
I think the first issue, which we've highlighted, in fact, a number of times, has to do with the controversy about the gunshots. In fact, when Seidu Hudu testified, he makes the point that for the first time, one person, he says, one of the SWAT operatives fired 6 shots. Those were the first shots that he had. He goes on to say that there were a number of other shots that they fired as well. He couldn't put a figure to it. But in terms of the whole narrative about the testimonies that we've got so far, at least we heard from the SWAT commander, DSP Samuel Azugu, and the National Security Minister, Kandapa, placed that number of shots at 6. But again, this testimony comes in to put the figure as being more than 6. Because of the fact that one person fired 6 and there were so other subsequent shots from them. Again, a bit about whether the shots were just fired by only the national security operatives or there were shots from the crowd. We had heard Double suggest that indeed there were some shots that emanated from the crowd. Again, you recall DSP Samuel Azugu had explained to the commission that his men headed towards the house because they had one gunshot behind that particular structure. But that was also denied today.
Okay.
We've also got some clarity in terms of the numbers of people, the number of people who were stationed close to the house as to what exactly they had come in to do. At least we have the understanding that some of them, per their testimony, they had come in to perform various functions relating to their party's participation, that is the opposition, and this is participation in the election. Even though when the witnesses were asked directly whether they could account for all the other individuals, whether that was the activity they had come in to undertake, they said that wasn't the case. So in terms of the major highlights and how it fits in the overall narrative, I must again add that in terms of the key of the vehicle, we've also gotten some answers to it, because at the previous occasion, the commission was confused as to why the Ningo Prampram MP would want to retrieve a key for someone whom he didn't know. But at least we've identified that individual now as being Amidu. We've again identified him as being a key to the Mahindra vehicle that was used to undertake that distribution. So in terms of the overall narrative, that is how it fits in it.
Okay. Joseph, thank you very much. That's hours of the commission sitting that you've put in a few minutes. That's about 2 minutes. So if anybody has not followed, this will help them follow. So basically, Joseph, we have 3 people, Superintendent A.W.W, Amidu, Amadu, and then Seidu Hudu, who have already testified. What are we expected to have when the commission finally comes back to sit?
So the break is supposed to be for an hour. There are a number of individuals who are supposed to appear before the commission, and with the list that were handed, which I'm reading from currently, there is James Moore on it. There is also Sedofu Theophilus also on the list. You also have Mohammed Al-Hassan also on the list. Now, these individuals are listed as victims in terms of the description that's attached to them in the official notice from the commission. There's also one Seidu Hudu Zanze. He is described per the notice from the commission as an alleged leader of the Hawks. If you recall, the first time his name came up during the testimony of the National Security's Director of Operations, Colonel Michael Opoku. And during his presentation, he showed pictures of that individual, saying that that individual had been seen. He was one of the people that they saw at the constituency, and that on social media, he is known or perceived as the leader of the Hawks. He is around. He is one of the individuals who is supposed to testify. There's also the name Nathaniel Tenge. We understand he's Mr. Delali's housekeeper. He's also on the list of individuals who are supposed to testify. So in terms of the numbers, if they are all to show up, it means that at least we are looking at more than 2 people who are supposed to testify before the commission. The fresh information that is coming in, you'll recall that it had been said that today will be marked the last day for the commission. After its hearing, you have the executive secretary engage pressmen on a wide range of issues relating to the work that has been done by the commission so far. But the fresh information is that that has been moved to tomorrow because of the number of witnesses that the commission needs to finish up with today before it has that briefing tomorrow to wrap up the work of the commission in terms of its public engagement so far.
Joseph Akabley, thank you so much for bringing all of those into perspective and reducing, like I said, hours of sitting into just a few minutes. Joseph A.W.W will be coming to you as and when the commission reconvenes. Joseph is coming to us live from the Christian Book Castle in Osu, where the sitting is ongoing. So he mentioned Superintendent A.W.W, who appeared earlier. He also mentioned Amidu, Amadu. Let's get some highlights from the sitting or the testimony of Superintendent A.W.W.
Superintendent.
Yes, my lord.
You ought to have known that.
Yes, my lord.
You ought to have known that the statements you collected from the witnesses, as well as the medical reports, are extremely relevant to the work of this commission.
Yes, my lord.
And so, why did you come without bringing these statements as well as the medical reports?
My lord.
It's not. It's totally inappropriate. And then tell us about medical reports and statements. What you don't have, not even a single one to present to the commission.
Police station. Thereafter, IGP formed a committee to continue with investigations. So they took over the docket, including all the materials and the communications that I did, my lord.
Yes, but when you were informed that you were required to testify before us, you should have obtained copies of the statements and the reports so that you'll be in a better position to give a meaningful testimony to this commission.
Yes, my lord.
You cannot speak to the injuries they sustained. You cannot tell us, you don't have the statements they gave. You can't speak to the statements they gave because you don't have them here, right?
I don't have them with me at the moment, my lord.
Superintendent, I think it's not sufficient for us to for you to bring them and deposit it at the secretariat. You must go and bring them and testify before. Go and get copies of the statements and then come back
Yes, my Lord.
Continue your testimony.
Yes, my Lord.
Superintendent A.W.W. there. Well, the next person was Amadu here, and there was a banter between himself and Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu. I beg your pardon.
He said he saw the one who fired the 6 shots.
My Lord, according to him, that he was in the crowd and saw
Ask him, please. You are not. Okay.
You know what about? Kaman kachi, kagani, shim samaru ni abuga bindika shidan kuba kaba.
Na gaisha mabanga idon shi ba.
My Lord, that he saw him but he didn't see his face.
So when he was asked to lie down, he did not lie down.
Da aka ce ka kwanta na ka kwanta ko baka kwanta ba.
Na kwanta sannan na tashi.
My Lord, that when he was instructed to lie down, he lied and came and got up again.
So when did he hear somebody saying, why don't you slap him in Hausa?
Wani lokaci ne ka ji wani ya ce wai ya ba marinka cikin Hausan nan.
Lokacin nake tambayan su warrant.
That at the time he was requesting for their warrant.
But he said the way they were carrying themselves, he decided they were not police. That's why he got up.
We ka gwada ka ga commotion ga kamar da way mutanen sun zo suna yin na alamun su. Shi ya sa ke ka samu wadan.
Abin da na ga ya na tashi. Da na tashi na tambaye su warrantin su. Na tashi na tambaye su warrantin su. To wayan tambayan warrantin nan shi wani tugudu shi tambaya ya nake tambayan su warrant ya nake yake bar na sai gaban shi na tambayan shi wani bai mari na.
My Lord, that what he said was that when they asked him to lie down, he got up again. And
did he lie down first?
That's what he's saying. That he got up and he was demanding for the warrant from them. That is when another person behind told him that, look, why are you wasting your time asking him questions? Won't you slap him?
So when did he form the opinion that they were not police?
So when lokacin kekere kagan kama mutanen ga ba police number.
Lokacin da na tashi na tambaye shi warrantin shi ya tambaye shi warrant shi duka tagin shi na yana gwada mini na shi na duba tagin na ba warrant bane.
That when he requested for the warrant and the man showed him a tag on his neck. Then when he saw the tag, he saw that no, this wasn't a warrant. That's where he got the opinion that they were not police officers.
And he called upon the crowd to attack them.
Jama.
Wajen nan gude ce kaman ya nake siye nake tambaye ke ban na sai gaba shi na tambayan warrant bai mari na to wajen na ce kaman wadan gaba police karki ban don shi da ba ku zo ku tanye mu.
That, my Lord, when he requested for the warrant and they showed him the tag, then one person behind said, why are you wasting your time on this gentleman? Won't you slap him in Hausa? That's where he now asked the crowd to come and help because they are not police officers. They should come and then they will help drive them away.
So about 30 or 35 people came to the place, armed and all, asked them to do things. He decided they were not police. They showed him something when he asked, has he ever seen a warrant?
That is Professor Mensah Bonsu's conversation there with the gentleman who came earlier. His name is Amadu. So those are the highlights of the sitting so far. We understand they're on a break for an hour. They will come back and we'll be going there.